Hey, what's up? My name is PJ, and in this video we are doing the results of Raw Edit Challenge number 10. Hope you enjoy. Okay, let's get right into this. I have got a very early morning, very early call time tomorrow morning. So let's get into it. This is Raw Edit Challenge number 10, the results video. This photo I took in Cinque Terre in Italy earlier this year. Took it on a Canon 750D at 24mm, and it's one of my favorite photos ever. I've got it blown up very big in my room, framed. The feedback was fantastic from this video. I had some excellent entries, and the feedback was that you guys all really enjoyed editing this type of photo, which was cool. I thought this was a fun one as well, and a nice break up from the very portrait and music heavy stuff that we've done in the past. So let's get right into it. This is the raw file straight from the camera. First up here, we have my boy Andrew Panda Orellana. Panda, you did a fantastic job of this image. First of all, the colors are all very true to life, but they're also not boring, because that's an easy trap to fall into. If you grade the colors too much like how they are in, let's say, a JPEG, yes, they look true to life, but it's not exciting at all. You've managed to do a really good job, good amount of contrast, perfect amount of color, and I can see all the individual different tones of all the houses, which is something that I really tried to do when I edited this photo. Sometimes it works doing a grade where you kind of lose those, differences, but in this case, I think you've done a fantastic job. Nice black point, nice white point, and this was one of my favorite submissions for sure. I really like this, man. Thank you. Next one we have here is Dec Burns from Nottingham in the UK at Dec Takes Photos on Instagram. Dec, this is also cool, man. I also added a bit of a red tinge to mine. Yours might be a little more red than mine, and the reason I think that is because the skin tones they're just a little bit pink for my liking. I actually love what's going on up here. My edits, I would have probably hit it with a little more contrast. Actually, no, that's pretty good. You've still got a lot of detail. I really like the warm red vibes. Like I said, I did something similar on a little bit of a smaller scale. I might have pulled down on those tones a little bit. Some of them are a bit too large for life, and particularly the skin tones is an area that you're going to see that. But I thought this was really good, which is why I chose it. And yeah, thank you for the submission, Dec. I really appreciate it. Jacob Eldridge from Phoenix, Arizona at Dad Life Visual Media on Instagram. Very similar in the way that you've chosen a sort of color theme for the photos. This very much follows the orange and teal thing, which is so common and which I use quite a lot to varying degrees. I really like the tones. You've kind of lost some of the punch, but I like the way the tones give the photo an overall feel. The blues are very blue, maybe a little bit too much on the teal side for my taste, but this is your photo and your edit, and I think that's really cool, Jacob. That's why I chose it. It's very different to the other ones, or very different to most of them, and I thought you did a really cool job, and I really want to thank you for submitting this. Thanks, man. Next one is Lan Nguyen from Vietnam. This is actually pretty similar to Andy's and pretty similar to mine. You've brought the white point down a little bit and desaturated the photo a little bit as well, which gives it a different feel altogether to the other ones. It feels much more sort of grimy, but not in a way where you've added too much unnecessary clarity or detail. It's still a very sharp edit. Man, every time I look at this photo, I see different things. Yeah, nice and sharp, very detailed, really good amount of contrast, and a bit of a darker, dirtier feel, which I quite like. Thank you so much for the edit, Lan. I think that's a really good one. Liam Davidson, I really like this one, man. It's similar kind of to one of the other red ones we saw before. I think it was Dec Burns, with your own flair to it, and you've really made some of these colors pop that sort of weren't there before, weren't popping before. I actually quite like the sort of raspberry flavor you've added to it. You've added some blues, you've saved some detail in the sky, which is cool. And the skin tones aren't too far gone. You've kept it sort of natural-ish. It just feels like a nice old film stock. It feels like one of those like, lomography film stocks. That's a really good edit, man. That's one of my favorites as well. Thank you. Milos Ivanovski from Serbia. Milos, you've done a great job at thinking outside the box once more. I would have never, ever in a million years thought to do this, but you've basically duplicated it and you've done a bit of cloning or something down here. Very, very cool idea, and I commend you for your originality. That's why I included it, because you did something that no one else did, and you really reimagined this photo. Honestly, if it wasn't for the people down here, it could very easily be natural. It could very easily be like that. Yeah, a lot of people might not know it would be duplicated if they've never seen the photo before, but I think it's pretty cool, contrasty, sort of dark and grimy like I was saying before, but you definitely did your own thing, and hats off to you for the originality. Thank you, Milos. Nick Hagens. Nick, this is nice, man. This is also quite similar to mine, I think. Maybe a little more on the contrast and a little bit less saturation, but this is a really cool one. Again, it feels like a really nice old film stock. Maybe like a something kind of pastel-y like a portrait, but with a bit of extra contrast and kick, which I really like. You always do really solid edits. Thank you for the submission, Nick. Nick from Brisbane. I hope I don't butcher this name. I'm really sorry, Ryan. Ryan Pugh or Ryan Puh? Ryan is from Florida. Somewhere in Florida from memory. At Ryan X Pugh on Instagram. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong. You've really stepped up the color on this one. Very, very bright, punchy, colorful. I absolutely love the yellow tones. If I could have put those yellow tones in my photos, I probably would have. Nice reds as well. Very punchy. Kind of like the other ones. Some of the red tones are a bit exaggerated and they kind of stick out a little bit too much for my liking. But the color scheme in general is absolutely fantastic. And for a Lightroom edit, I think that's really, really cool. Yeah, there's not much I could improve on with that. I might mask out some of these like canoes and stuff just to make sort of like this the focus and this the foreground. But that's a fantastic edit, Ryan. Thank you so much for that, man. That's one of my favorites for sure. Randy Kin. Randy is from Michigan in the United States of America. At RandyKin27 on Instagram. Thank you for the submission, man. Again, you've reimagined it, you have recomposed it and seen it in your own way, and you've kind of made these little people, or maybe these people in the middle here, the main focus of the image. Instead of it being all the colorful buildings, you've made it a little bit of an environmental portrait and changed the crop, obviously. And yeah, like I said before, I see different things about this photo every time I look, which is one of the things that I love. And you've helped me do that. And it's a pretty nice, muted, sort of pastel-y color palette as well, which I really like. Thank you for that, man. I really appreciate it. Sam Pana, who's also from Brisbane, I don't know why I said that, at Dasam on Instagram. Love it, man. Orange and teal. I love the warm tones. Like I've kind of said before with a couple of the others, a couple of the colors are a little exaggerated, but it feels larger than life. It feels big, and I would love to see this. I would love to see it printed in this color scheme. I think it would really jump out of the frame or jump off the wall if you printed it like this. This was also one of my favorites. You guys are the top 12. That's why they're all my favorites, I guess. But yeah, I really never saw the photo like this, and I never saw it edited like this. And I think it's really cool. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it, man. Andy Bromley. This one kind of caught me off guard. I don't know what I like about it so much, but it has a feel that my photos normally don't have. I know this has very much sort of become your style of edit, Andy, and I feel this sort of thing doesn't always work. I don't know what you'd call it, if it's a split tone thing or if it's like a variation of the orange and teal. I don't think it always works in every situation, and I know you've got you've got a lot of different types of edits that you do, but for some reason I really love it on this one. I said a couple of the earlier ones, you kind of lose the difference between these tones here, but it gives it a whole other feel altogether, and it takes your eye a little bit away from here and a bit more down to this darker bit of the photo here. I honestly can't put my finger on it, but I really, really love this one. I think it's cool, Andy. I would love to try and recreate that sometime just to see if I could. Thank you for the submission, man. Andy Bromley from Melbourne. Last one here, we have my buddy Durian Kuipers from Belgium, I believe. Durian, at Durian Kuipers on Instagram. This is a cool one because what Durian has done is he actually messaged me to say that he was going to do it in Photoshop, which I said was totally fine. I just usually say Lightroom to keep it simple, but you did a Photoshop edit, which is really cool, and you actually gave it kind of like a sunset feel, which is cool, and yeah, changed the entire feel of the image. You crunched the blacks a little bit, which is cool because you get some of that detail still, which is kind of lost when the black gets too dark, but you've really given it its own feel, and it feels warm, which I like, and it just generally feels a lot larger than life. It still feels kind of grimy and gritty. You can see a lot of those textures in there that haven't come out in all of the edits, but really interesting, creative and original. And Durian, I want to thank you so much for the submission, my man. You always do a good job. This is definitely your jam, I think, this type of photo. Guys, that comes to the end of our raw edits challenge. I'm going to now show you my one. Hang on, this one here. This is my edit. It's kind of similar to the other ones. I made it quite bright because like I said, have it printed. It's kind of contrasty. It's a little bit desaturated here. A little bit of a reddy pink hue in it. And like I said, I made it quite bright because it's now framed in my bedroom on my wall. And when you print something, it doesn't have a screen to backlight it from behind, so you need to bump it up a little bit in brightness. But yeah, that's my edit. Thank you so much to everyone that submitted. I had probably 3 or 4 that I really loved that were my top favorites for the winner. It was really close. I really loved a lot of them, and the top 12 was really fantastic. I think we got about 33, 34 submissions. So not the most that we've ever had, but I definitely think we've had some of the highest quality in this challenge. Just on a gut feeling, I think I want to give the t-shirt this week to Andy Brum. It's not really my style normally, but for some reason, I can't quite put my finger on it. I just really love the feel that you've given to my photo, man. Yeah, that's it. Some of the other ones I really, really loved as well. Like I said, Panda, that's really similar to mine. Yeah, love it. Andy, fantastic, man. Really good job. Thank you for the submission and your continued support. You're always involved, and I really appreciate you. Hit me up with a message and I'll send you a t-shirt. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any suggestions or a raw file or something that you would like to offer for a future raw edit challenge, please let me know, and leave me a comment to let me know the subject matter. What would you like to edit in the future? Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, give me a big fat thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.